I'm reading from Jung's Red Book for Our Time, from the essay by Dr. Nancy Furlotti, A Voice of Hope for Our Precarious World. Jung had a transcendent experience, which he later came to understand to be the result of the transcendent function, the new bridging symbol between opposites. He experienced himself as the vessel for this transformation. This is a very important discovery, which he later discusses in Answer to Job, pointing to locating the God within as humans' role in the incarnation and transformation of the God image. With his soul, Anima, in human form and able to see, she has moved from the unconscious into the human realm of consciousness, acting as a guide to the many other encounters with parts of himself he has to experience. She becomes once again the chthonic snake, who knows her way through the unconscious. Then, when he becomes overly humble and mocked, the soul comes in the form of a white bird to bring compensation from above for his lowly attitude. From white bird to snake, the up and down is the energetic movement of inflation and depression that is a continuous cycle in the journey to the self. Quote, "He who does not want evil will have no choice to save his soul from hell. So long as he remains in the light of the upper world, he will become a shadow of himself, but his soul will languish in the dungeons of the demons." Jung's task is to accept the reality of these different energies within himself that manifest as real figures. Soul gives Jung three things: the misery of war, the darkness of magic, and the gift of religion. Soul as snake and Jung quarrel as they walk a tenuous middle road between opposites, accepting and not accepting each other's viewpoints. It becomes clear to Jung that the human stands in between the snake and the bird. If you want to become and not only be, then a battle between bird and serpent breaks out. Recognizing that she, the snake's soul, has wisdom, Jung asks her many questions trying to elicit understanding for himself. What he learns, what is of great importance, is that when the opposites come together, everything stops, becoming motionless and rests at a standstill. The counterforce of Satan or darkness is required to keep the libido or creative energy moving. This points to the continuous process of becoming. It is ongoing and never-ending. The place of stillness is where one experiences the reality of the self, a state of transcendence and unification. These moments are fleeting before we fall back into our humanity once again, where the opposites push each other apart. Individuation strives to bring more of what is unconscious into our conscious awareness. Quote, "Through drawing the darkness from my beyond over into the day, I emptied my beyond. Therefore, the demands of the dead disappeared as they were satisfied. I am no longer threatened by the dead, since I accepted their demands through accepting the serpent." Unquote. The dead represent the complexes and unlived life left behind by past generations that become ours to carry and make conscious. It became Jung's task now to live his life rather than succumb to the pressures from the past or the collective. Once again, true to the cycle, the snake, after giving Jung hardness, wisdom, and magical power from below, is pulled upward into the form of a white bird, the spiritual soul, to find something important in heaven for Jung, something he needs, a discarded golden crown with the incised words, "Love never ends." The movement from below to above is balanced by the need again for Jung to hang on the tree of life for 3 days and 3 nights until he understands, hanging between heaven and hell, much like his hanging on the cross in Liber Primus. This time he hangs between the opposites of life and love. Love wants to hold on like the mother who cares for the child, while life wants more. The beginnings of all things is love, but the being of things is life. The beginning of all things is love, but the being of things is life. Just to refer back to an experience in my own life, quoting again from Furlotti, the place of stillness is where one experiences the reality of the self, the state of transcendence and unification. These moments are fleeting before we fall back into our humanity again, where the opposites push each other apart. Now, in my experience, one of the things I've spoken of in our reading group was an experience I had at the U.S. Naval Academy Chapel. On one particular day, I was feeling particularly depressed, and I went into the chapel in the morning when it was pretty dark inside. I went to a favorite pew, which is up near the front, and it faces the side of the chapel, on which there is a beautiful Tiffany stained glass window. As I was sitting there, suddenly the light came through the window, and it shined only on me in the chapel. I was so astounded that I actually snapped a picture of it, and then I did a selfie that showed that the light was only on me and not on anything else in the chapel. I'll add them to this video. Now, those images may have no meaning to you, but for me they certainly represented the dove of heaven pulling me up away from the snake of depression. And you can see the change of attitude in my face on the selfie. I hope this has been meaningful to you.